Let's talk about your period, how you should train, how you should lift, and when you should rest depending on which phase of your menstrual cycle you're in. My name's Claire, also known as the Naked Warrior, and in this video I'm going to talk you through the best types of exercises that you should be doing in each phase of your cycle, teach you what's going on in your body so you can adapt your training and get the most out of it, so you can feel energized at the right times and then make the most of those restorative areas of training as well. So, we all know women have periods. It's something that some people like to talk about, some don't. As a trainer and also obviously as a woman, I like to make sure that I'm informed on how my body works and how I'm feeling. So generally I do track my cycle, and I would highly recommend that anyone who is training regularly or having a regular cycle that you do track it, and also track your feelings, track your moods, track your energy levels as well. And there's a number of different apps that you can use for that. And by tracking, you'll be able to see, obviously, if there's any patterns, and you'll also be able to tell those telltale signs that happen each month regularly that trigger you to think, oh, okay, I'm about to have my period and start that in a couple of days. So I should really think about how to adapt my training to that. So how would you adapt your training? Let's have a think of your menstrual cycle. So, some people have a 28-day, 4-week cycle. Some people can go up to 35 days or whatever. So your cycle is whatever's regular for you. And I'm not going to talk to you about regularity of periods and things like that. I'm going to just talk to you about how to train in each of those phases. So let's get into it. So we have 4 phases to your cycle. First phase is your menstruation phase. Next we have follicular phase, then it's ovulation, and then it's your luteal phase. Phase 1 is your menstruation phase. So this phase starts literally day 1 of your period when you start bleeding. What happens in this phase, it could be day 1 to 5, day 1 to 6, 1 to 7, depending obviously how long your regular cycle is for bleeding for. In this phase, it's when your hormones, estrogen and progesterone, are at their lowest. We all know what it feels like as a woman to feel, the feelings of having your first day of period. Sometimes we can feel cramping, we can get a backache, we can feel tired, we can feel bloating. So we really need to think about adapting our training around that. Think about, obviously, we do have that blood loss, so that's going to be quite draining on the body. So you don't want to be doing any high energetic exercises unless you really, really feel like it. So the ideal things to do would be potentially gentle walking exercises, yoga, a little bit of mobility or stretching, anything that's just going to help out ease that tired body, because your energy levels will feel a bit low. You might feel a bit crappy. You might feel a bit bloated, and a bit uncomfortable as well. So really try to honor those feelings in your body and go, instead of like a high intensity whoop 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 energetic cardio phase, you're thinking about, okay, let's pull back, let's take this time to rest a little bit, and try those gentle restorative exercises as I mentioned. If you feel like doing strength training, just understand that it's not going to be the best time of the month for you to go for those PBs. Those hormones, estrogen and progesterone are low, so your energy is going to be low. So it might be a bit hard to motivate yourself to go to the gym, and then once you're in there, your energy is not going to be quite there firing for you to feel like a real strong powerhouse. And if you're feeling low already and you're pushing yourself in the gym and then not able to do what you potentially would expect yourself to normally do, it can make you feel a little bit demotivated. So try and opt for something that's low impact, moderate intensity, not too high, and stretching and gentle yoga as well. Phase number 2. Now this is your real powerhouse phase. This is the phase where you can start to push. It's a phase of your cycle where you can start to reach and achieve those PBs. This phase, also known as your follicular phase, is when your estrogen levels are starting to rise again. But you also have a hormone called follicular stimulating hormone that is released in the body, which basically stimulates the body to release the egg to travel down to where it needs to go to. So this is that next phase in your cycle. But what that means is your energy levels are starting to rise. Like I said, it's a real powerhouse. So this would be the phase where you can start to push into doing your PBs. You're feeling better after you've had your period and your actual menstruation is done. So you feel energized, you want to get back in the gym and move, you're motivated to. You're able to lift, you'll hit a PB, you'll feel strong, again because of that rise in estrogen. And if you want to go and do some kind of high intensity cardio or a HIIT session, something like that, this is the one where you can now really start to push yourself. So I love this phase. It's like I said, the follicular phase, phase 2, and it's where you're going to go and achieve all of those PBs that you want to. Remember in this phase as well to be smart with your training, continue with the structured program that you're used to, and make sure that you're also eating the right foods around that to feed yourself for your workouts. If you want to know more about how to eat around your cycle and which are the best foods to eat, then there will be a similar video to this one, which you'll be able to find in the link in the description of this one. But for now, let's move on to phase 3. Ovulation phase is phase 3. What happens here is your estrogen levels are at their highest, so you're going to feel really energized. You're also going to get a spike in your testosterone levels, which is going to help to make you feel strong. You also get another hormone which helps to stimulate the release of the egg. Whereas in phase 2 with the follicular phase, the hormone there was actually preparing the egg to be ready. In this phase, in phase 3, ovulation does exactly what it says on the tin. You are ovulating, that egg's getting released. So your energy levels are at a high. So it might also mean that your sex drive is up there. You're going to feel a little bit randy in the bedroom because you obviously naturally want that egg to go and get fertilized. But that's not what this video is about. So in this phase, we're thinking about trying to, again, continue to push ourselves. We're still going to feel strong, we're going to feel energized. And this phase is a really good time to focus more on the cardio, more on like high intensity interval training, because you're going to be able to work hard, recover, work hard again. So if that's your style of training and you're looking to progress, from the anaerobic perspective and recovery perspective, this phase is going to be really good for you to make those physical training adaptations in. With this phase though, because there is a lot happening internally, your risk of injury tends to be a little bit higher. So now try and stick to training patterns and modalities that you are used to and that your body is used to as well. So it's stick with what you know, train a little bit harder, train at a little bit of a higher intensity, and just know that you're going to feel energized and that powerhouse. So whilst phase 2 was from the end of your period for about 5 days, this phase is probably at around day 14 of your period and can last again about 5 to 6 days as well. So that's phase 1, 2, 3 done. We're going to get into phase 4. Ovulation phase is phase 3. What happens here is your estrogen levels are at their highest, so you're going to feel really energized. You're also going to get a spike in your testosterone levels, which is going to help to make you feel strong. You also get another hormone which helps to stimulate the release of the egg. Whereas in phase 2 with the follicular phase, the hormone there was actually preparing the egg to be ready. In this phase, in phase 3, ovulation does exactly what it says on the tin. You are ovulating, that egg's getting released. So your energy levels are at a high. So it might also mean that your sex drive is up there. You're going to feel a little bit randy in the bedroom because you obviously naturally want that egg to go and get fertilized. But that's not what this video is about. So in this phase, we're thinking about trying to, again, continue to push ourselves. We're still going to feel strong, we're going to feel energized. And this phase is a really good time to focus more on the cardio, more on like high intensity interval training, because you're going to be able to work hard, recover, work hard again. So if that's your style of training and you're looking to progress, from the anaerobic perspective and recovery perspective, this phase is going to be really good for you to make those physical training adaptations in. With this phase though, because there is a lot happening internally, your risk of injury tends to be a little bit higher. So now try and stick to training patterns and modalities that you are used to and that your body is used to as well. So it's stick with what you know, train a little bit harder, train at a little bit of a higher intensity, and just know that you're going to feel energized and that powerhouse. So whilst phase 2 was from the end of your period for about 5 days, this phase is probably at around day 14 of your period and can last again about 5 to 6 days as well. So that's phase 1, 2, 3 done. We're going to get into phase 4. So as we head into the last phase of our menstrual cycle, we enter phase 4, which is also known as your luteal phase. This phase can probably typically be anywhere from days 14 to 16 right through to the end of your cycle before you start bleeding again and day 1 happens again. In this phase, what you'll notice is the first few days of it, whilst estrogen is still quite high, you will still typically feel quite energized, but that's going to start to fall off, and you'll start to feel a little bit more tired, less motivated, and you might find that recovery is a little bit harder. As the estrogen starts to drop, the progesterone in your body again is going to start to rise. And then what happens here is it can make you sometimes feel a little bit drowsy, can make you feel a little bit unbalanced. So we've all been there, haven't we, where the last few days before we actually start our period and have day 1, we feel a bit clumsy and might be walking into things. So that's why it's the increase in your progesterone. So with your training in this phase, what you want to think about doing is, because your energy levels are going to be falling down again, it's trying to adapt your training, modify it so you're reducing down a little bit in terms of high intensity, a little bit in terms of the big heavy lifting, like we've done those in phase 2, phase 3. So now would be the time to think about adapting more to steady state training. So if cardio, rather than doing sprints, it would be at maybe more of a moderate intensity, and as I said, at that steady state. It would be doing moderate weightlifting as well, rather than constantly pushing for those PBs, taking the HIIT style and sprint style of training out of your workout as well. And you'll also notice that this is a phase where you're going to start to get some of those cravings. Like I said, your energy is going to be low. You're going to start to crave chocolate, things like that, because your body's looking for magnesium as well, which you'll be able to get from the chocolate, which the how to eat around your cycle is going to be in the other video in the link in this description. But what I will say in this phase as well is really start to pay attention to your protein levels. Obviously, we're going to be going from phase 4 back into phase 1. So we want to make sure that we have enough protein in our body to support that process, and also make sure that you're getting your carbohydrates in after your workouts that you're doing to help support a quicker recovery and refuel as well. So there you have it. Now you know how to be training in each phases of your menstrual cycle. So what do you do next? Make sure you are tracking, like using an app. I track mine regularly through my Garmin, but you can track yours through any app or your smartwatch. Literally record everything, how you're feeling, what your flow's like, what your cravings are, what your moods are as well, because then you'll start to be able to really tune in to your body, and then you'll actually be able to start to listen to your body. And I can't stress enough the importance of listening to your body. And now that we understand why our body's feeling like that, we can actually slow down, listen to it, and adapt our training from there. So key things for you to do now: track, get an understanding of your regular cycle, your regular patterns, adapt your training from there, and then make sure that you watch my separate videos on how to eat and how to hydrate throughout your cycle as well, to help support your training and all of those menstrual cycle symptoms that are going on too. So I hope you found this video useful. If you have, please do consider giving me a subscribe, follow, and be sure to like it. Comment below and let me know what training adaptations that you're potentially now going to go and make. And also, if you've got any questions, feel free to write them in the comments. But for now, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.